They warned him not to laugh. They begged him not to speak. But he spat on the ground, mocked the oracle, and said, "If the gods are real, let them strike me now." That night, the earth answered. In the ancient land of Umuiziaha, where the wind still carried the whispers of ancestors and the earth remembered every oath ever sworn upon it, lived a man whose pride was louder than the village gong. His name was Dikemba Okri. Dikemba was not born great. He was born hungry. Born into a small compound at the edge of the village, raised by a father who died too early and a mother who bent her back until it broke. From childhood, hunger taught him cruelty, and survival hardened his heart like burnt clay. But fate smiled on him later. Through trade, cunning, and a tongue sharper than a cutlass, Dikemba rose. He became wealthy. He owned barns filled with yam, goats that bleated at his command, and wives whose wrappers never tore. People feared him not because he was kind, but because he was powerful. And power, when unchecked, begins to mock the unseen. At the center of Umuiziaha stood the crooked Iroko tree, ancient and feared. Beneath it was the sacred shrine of Agwenesai, the oracle that never lied. For generations, the oracle spoke through its priest, Okadibia Majobuchi, a man whose eyes seemed to look beyond flesh and into destiny. People traveled from far villages to kneel before Agwenesai, because once it spoke, no man could escape its truth. It was said, "The oracle does not curse. It only reveals the road you have already chosen." But Dikemba laughed at such words. One market day, under a sky heavy with uneasy clouds, Dikemba was summoned before the oracle. No one summoned Dikemba before. Men like him summoned others. But the summons came 3 times. On the 3rd time, his left eye twitched, an omen his mother once warned him about. Still, pride pushed him forward. The villagers gathered. Women held their children tight. Old men leaned on their staffs. Okadibia Majobuchi spoke, his voice low and trembling. "Dikemba Okori, son of the late Okori Nonko. You have walked on graves you did not see. You have eaten food meant for unborn moths. The oracle says your house stands on borrowed breath." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Then the final words fell like thunder. "If you do not make restitution before the next new moon, your lineage will end not by sword, but by the turning of blood against itself." Silence swallowed the village. Then it happened. Dikemba laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not a fearful laugh. A mocking, roaring laugh. He stepped forward, spat on the sacred ground, and said, "Old man, your oracle feeds on fear. I built my wealth with my hands, not with stories. If Agwenesai has power, let it come down now and break my head." The earth rumbled. A sudden wind bent the Iroko tree until its leaves screamed. But Dikemba only laughed harder and walked away. That was the moment the ancestors turned their backs. That night, his youngest wife, Nokigo, woke screaming. She said she saw a man without eyes sitting at the foot of her bed, counting skulls and whispering Dikemba's name. Before dawn, she lost her unborn child. Dikemba dismissed it. "Women dream nonsense," he said. A week later, his first son, Chisum, strong as an Iroko and proud as his father, collapsed in the farm. By the time they reached him, ants were already crawling into his mouth alive. No wound. No sickness. Just gone. The elders whispered. Dikemba silenced them with threats. The new moon came. Dikemba made no restitution. Instead, he slaughtered a goat and drank palm wine with his friends, boasting, "Is this the end of my lineage? Am I not still standing?" That night, thunder struck his compound. Not once. Not twice. But 7 times. By morning, his barn was ash, his goats lay dead with twisted necks, and his second wife, Uloko, could no longer speak. Her tongue had turned black. Still, Dikemba refused. Pride had become his god. Then came the worst blow. His remaining children began to change. One stopped recognizing faces. Another began speaking in voices not her own. The last son wandered into the forest and was found days later, sitting naked beside the crooked Iroko, laughing and crying at once. The oracle had begun collecting. Broken, desperate, and afraid, Dikemba crawled back to the shrine. Not walked. Not stood. Crawled. Okadibia Majuabuchi looked at him with sorrow. You mocked the oracle, not knowing it was only a mirror. Your wealth was built on stolen ancestral land. Your father swore an oath he never fulfilled. You inherited the debt and added pride to it. Dikemba wept. But Agwenesai did not weep with him. The oracle spoke one last time. Only blood that accepts guilt can stop the flood. But your blood laughs at responsibility. Dikemba offered goats. The oracle rejected them. He offered land. Rejected. He offered his life. The oracle answered. Too late. Your life is already empty. Within one planting season, Dikemba Okari lost everything. His wives fled. His children died or vanished. His compound collapsed into bush. When he finally died, no masquerade danced. No drum was beaten. No name was called. Today, in Umuiziaha, no child bears the name Okari. And elders still warn. Never mock what you do not understand. The oracle does not chase you. It waits. Some men think the gods are silent because they are weak. Until silence becomes the sound of their ending.